Hello, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to this all-forked cup Firebomb Fiesta race between Kyrios and tallgrant. Here in the round of 8, we are in the brackets, and we have Kyrios of the two pink puffs drop inanimate armor taking on tallgrant of the Sumomo Assemble team. I'm Rowdy Roddy Sniper, joined in the booth by Commander Leonhardt. We've got Stony tracking for us, and Drinks Glue handling the restream duties. And Commander, this is we're in the playoffs. We're in the brackets. The stakes are getting higher, and this is do or die for Sumomo Assemble after earlier today. So, your thoughts on this race between these two?
Yeah, do or die for Smomo Assemble, like you said. Are at the moment down 1-0, so tallgrant is looking to force the tie, bring it down to that third match. Firebomb Fiesta. Most of us are fairly familiar with the flag set now. We see in front of us our hero, Kane. Kane's a pretty good hero. He has moderate agility growth, but he also has a lot of options to cut that if that's the way you want to play it. But he also has a lot of gear he can use, so you definitely aren't saddled with someone that you're never going to be able to use anything for.
Yeah, you can go with a drain spear to slow him down, or you can go with just a pure speed power and just try to blitz your way through the objectives. Does look like we've got we've got our static 5 objectives: forge, complete Cave Bahamut, complete the King and Queen of the Town of Monsters, and complete the Masamune altar. Um, our 3 objectives we rolled here, we've got the Crystal Sword altar and the Giant of Babel, so not necessarily an easy out. That Darkness Crystal looming large as well.
Big time, no doubt about that. It's a little. The thing with this that gets me, it's not the. Why are the words hard? This is not the flag set I specialized in. And the thing that gets me about this one is the no Z fight.
Yeah, that really changes how you approach a seed because suddenly, like, Tella becomes a lot more useful because you don't have to worry about his survivability for a Z fight. You can just take advantage of the fact that, hey, I've got Cure 4 relatively early now.
Yeah, and it kind of reduces the grind though with these objectives. I'm not sure how much. Unless you get a really friendly boss set in a few of these spots, then you practically need to be ready for Z to handle them anyway.
Yeah, and the no free bosses makes that a little bit even the friendlier choices a little less friendly. Though speaking of friendly, we do start off with a White Mage Emporium, and we get a rock.
Courtesy of a blue robe. So this could be Senator Crocodile handing over the rock, or it could just be being accompanied by Anna's ghost.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if we get a bear when we get the Baron key, if these runners fade Baron a little bit longer than normal until we get confirmation of which robe is there.
Enterprises are launched. Tallgrant heading south. Kyrios north. Eblin Castle, Watery Pass. Both popular choices.
Yeah, uh, this flag set does not have items in chests. Everything is converted to money, but however, to offset that, the shops are wild, so you can you can purchase a lot of power very quickly. So yeah, both these runners going to very dense item locations to get cash. Curio's going to avoid potential monster boxes, whereas Tallgrant will potentially find a little bit better stuff, but as you see there, resetting out of a fight that he's going to want to try and face later.
Yeah, and that makes it clear that there's no intention of fighting them, which is predictable given the starting party.
Yeah, these runners do start with 3 Hourglass 2s as part of their starting kits. They can use those, but there's not going to be any J items in shops that aren't damaging items. So those are the 3 Hourglasses they're going to have.
Arrows done with Watery Pass, off to Mist. So let's see a shop. What do we have in here? What's good? Armor shop says, yeah.
There we go. That's a little bit more interesting there. Rune Axe and a Stardust Rod. If we find a Black Mage, that Stardust Rod could be very useful.
Yeah, best in slot for any black magic caster with the plus 15 to wisdom. Early game, the fact that it casts the Comet Twin magic at will isn't anything to sneeze at either.
Yeah, so far some pretty good weapons in these shops. Some Rasme for an edge if we find him. Not so much for arcane yet, other than that Rune Axe.
Some sort of twin in the bed.
I think I saw the
So,
ponytail on the left side.
got better eyes than I do then. Oh, some of those damaging items. The only J items this flag set has, correct? The damage type?
Yes, that is correct.
Some big bombs. Kyrios happy to have those to get things rolling. Tallgrant getting some shopping done. I saw a life staff over here in Agert. That's our white mages. Best in slot.
Yeah, and I think passing on that for now though, and getting just a dancing dagger, I think, if I saw that correctly, which also, nice thing to have for Kane. Some pretty reliable single target damage as well in the early game.
Kyrios picking up a tiara and
Oh,
a karate. And there's the Avenger.
yeah.
That's Kane's weapon.
Yeah, Curio. I would not be surprised to see Curios trying to break open whatever piggy bank and search under any couch
Oh.
cushions to be able to afford that right now. And yeah, go and do some more looting here.
I know I would be in issues. Like early on, just put an Avenger in Kane's hand and let him go. You get plus 10 to agility. He is the hero. Lean heavily into what you were saying before we got started. Speed him up and let him go.
Yeah, as the old saying goes, the best defense sometimes is a good offense.
It's often very true in FE.
And I say that I think that kind of to your point earlier about there not being a Zeromus fight, I do think that there is a lot of truth to that in Firebomb Fiesta as well. You want to be this is a flag set that says get something to get you going, get your power, and be not necessarily aggressive, but push your advantages here. Push your strength. Which, speaking of that, Dragoon Lance for Tallgrant, also a very good piece of equipment, especially if we find those dragon bosses in some difficult spots.
Yeah, like a lot of people have a lot of different opinions, but if I were to consensus opinion people, Avenger, Kane's best weapon, Dragoon Lance, second,
Yeah,
because of that dragon boss vulnerability.
I would agree with you that personally as well. That auto berserking of the Avenger, absolutely wonderful. But being able to take out things like Wyvern and the D-Lunars with quad damage, huge help in some seeds.
And to some of you there that are newer to FE, do not be fooled by the shape of that sprite. Bahamut is not a dragon. If this troubles you, this is far from the worst troubling thing about how FF4 is coded that you're going to come across.
Yeah, especially when you go to those boss spots that are only expected to be casting magic and have a physical attacker there.
Why? Why does the King of Summon Monsters hate me so?
Well, by the way, I almost forgot. Happy anniversary to Free Enterprise or to Final Fantasy IV. Today is the 34th anniversary of the game's release and initial release in Japan.
Huzzah.
Not sure what anniversary that would be, but let's just assume it's a lump of adamant.
Blatant lies, Lord Goover. Lord Goover in chat claiming FF4 is a perfectly coded game.
So, Kyrios heading up Mount Hobbs, going to get Palom as well as to match Talgern's Palom here on there, and making very even shorter work of that Bahamut. And Tallgrant in the Antlion using one of those J items to take out the dolls and getting a
Drum
Sorcerer's Robe.
roll. Yeah, just a Sork Robe. I mean, it is again often best in slot for a mage, so I think we're hoping for a key item.
Yeah, especially since those items can be found in shops relatively easily, potentially relatively easily, and they're not the sorcerer's robes aren't that expensive. It's nice to have.
Yeah.
It's certainly better than getting a cabin.
Yeah, for Porum, it's second best with, the white shirt being the thing. But for that black mage that we're still looking for, we've got a lot of things hanging out for them. If we can ever find them, Stardust Rob, Sork Robe. There's a tiara we've seen if said black mage is Rydia and not Palom. Like, there's a lot of potential here. Just need the character.
Tallgrant seeing that Avenger now as well, and knowing that it's time to maybe talk to the loan officer and see what he can do as far as some quick cash.
And no time for grr on Kyrios' screen. The Doctor Dialogue goes down fast because, well, Kane has an angry stick.
Yeah, you could just see the power of that Avenger between being able to go faster than the bosses at this early stage and hit them very very hard. Getting a tower key here in Fabul.
Yeah, useful if we get underground. Could lead to something. And even if not, that tower key makes it more appealing to go after the main check. So we'll see what happens when Kyrios gets underground.
Meanwhile, Tallgrant is in Toroya. Gonna go up and check the Flame Dog chest here. This flag set does have key items in monster boxes on the surface of the blue planet, as well as the last arm chest and the hair dryer chest on the lunar surface. So kind of I think I saw some Boreases in Tallgrant's inventory, so gonna make good use of one of those here real quick.
I keep finding magma keys in the flame dog chests, but I think that's just confirmation bias on my part.
We'll see if that holds true now here in a second. Oh, well, that's
Um,
convenient.
remember all that money you spent on an Avenger a while back? About that.
I think that's good news. I don't think I saw Tallgrant pick it up, so I think that saves
Well, then
him
in that
the
case,
need to go run to the bank.
in that case, yeah, that's great. Kyrios
Kyrios, on the other
tearing.
hand, probably a little bit disappointed.
Ooh. Okay, we'd probably be fine. But the moment I see plague, I start to worry about a fast anchor. But this side is so slow that it's not going to be a concern.
Yeah, fortunately, Kane getting that extra damage in. Yeah, that's half an objective.
It is.
And to sit as well, so
Some
not
important life potions being picked up by Tallgrant and some Gaia drums. Must be nice being able to buy life potions for only 600 gold.
Yeah, believe your flag said you were working on the double shot prices.
That is correct. Well, just the items. Everything else, the items are doubled. The other stuff is normally. That's the Ace flag set, which we'll see as part of the tournament as it continues.
Yeah, for those of you just tuning in for the first time for the All Forked Cup tournament, we have each of these runners are specializing in one of three flag sets. This is the Firebomb Fiesta flag set. Um, which they are very well versed in each of these flag sets. Those of us who are either doing commentary or coming in for commentary after their own separate flags are going, wait, what was this again?
Yeah, ACE standing for Adamant Cup Experience, which, as you might expect, does not have the No Adamants flag on and has other flags that, if you watched the Adamant Cup a couple of years back, will be familiar. And the last one is ZZA, Zemus Zone Anthology, which calls back to some of the earlier days of Free Enterprise with its flag set.
Yeah, it's been really fun seeing how these these older flag sets have been revamped using the Gale Swift fork that we're utilizing for this tournament to introduce a number of new flags and present some really unique challenges.
Yeah, it's been well put together, I feel, as both a commentator and a runner by the event team, showing off what the flag sets could do. There's a white shirt, and what the options are for Gale Swift's fork of Free Enterprise as well.
So tallgrant kind of following a little bit in Kyrios' footsteps here, going into the Fagul defense, getting that tower key for himself. Well, as you said, Kyrios getting one of those white shirts from the Skull Staleman chest here in Castle Eblin.
Yeah, a little bit of crisscrossing, which is inevitable. Although we'll get some new information in a moment from Tallgrant once he gets up ordeals, and as Kyrios knocks out some of these chests.
Yeah, I like this. I like this play to go up ordeals. It's one of those plays that most runners will avoid, or because it is three bosses for one item. So it's a bit of a counterplay. So I like taking this chance. Do something that you think your opponent's likely not going to do.
Kyrios using one of the precious hourglasses on the Black Cat Lamia. Perfectly understandable. The counters here are a bit nasty and not something you want to trifle with. Just an X-Cal. I guess it'll do.
If we get Cecil in this flag set, that'll be a lot more, very nice to have. If not, well, maybe an edge to throw it. If not, it sells.
Tallgrant making short work of the Magic Sisters in the less dangerous front attack. The back attack is where it's at, and that's coming up right now. Oh dear.
It's fine, I think. So
Is it? Is it? I mean, it might be. I could be,
now we were just
That's not a
talking.
good start.
No, it isn't. Okay, so Kane is able to get through this. I was going to question because I know the Gale Swift fork does adjust Valvalis's evasion rolls in the tornado form a little bit, which, depending on the spot, can really kind of throw these runners off that have been playing this for a long time, like Kyrios and Tallgrant have. But fortunately, Avenger Kane able to get through that and do some decent damage.
Yeah. Aside from his native stats, he's getting 10 to strength and 10 to agility, and you add a multiplier for every 8 points of strength and every 16 points of agility. So even with high evasion, if you are swinging enough times, you can land at least one attack that's not going to be dodged.
I
A
believe it's
rat
a new.
tail?
It
It was
looks like it
definitely a
based.
key item. It was yellow.
Yeah, no, our
And our
tracker's
tracker
Stone.
says yes, rat tail.
Yep, thank you. This is why we have trackers. Thank you, Stony, for being an extra set of eyes. Because I was checking our flag set because I was trying to remember if the if that Valvalis meant that this was not going to be the magma key.
or at least not the logical path underground. Right? Are we it's a hook?
It's a
There we
for,
go.
it's force magma.
Ah, it's force magma. Thank you.
Oh, it is be unsafe, so this could be the
Yes.
path. Okay. That's what I was looking
One.
for, and I missed that flag. Thank you to chat for pointing that out for me.
Yes, we appreciate it. Kane, almost a calculated one shot on the Asura here. One more damage than necessary.
Terrible inefficiency. Dock him a grade. Look, we didn't choose to be bureaucrats, okay?
You're technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Kyrios getting his sorcerer's robe out of Antlion Cave as tallgrant now. Um, Still has to do Baron Inn, and also has the rest of Evelyn Castle as well. But this does open up two chests in the hook route, the double Staleman chest in the cave, and then the four Mad Ogres in the Tower of Babel. And if my memory is serving, that means that magma key is going to be on one of those two monster boxes behind the hook.
Right, because Gale Swift's fork flag that we're using for Firebomb Fiesta is... Where is the free key item? Is that the Demis standard or is it the package burn?
This one's the package, I believe.
Okay, so demist on the route isn't a consideration in that case. So yeah, that does just leave the Staleman and the Mad Ogres to either have the magma key or lead to it. It would be in logic for, say, the Baron key to be at the Mad Ogres in the very last chest, and then you can ask yourself, do I want to walk all the way out to Baron Castle and run that for the magma key, or do I just beat up these hook bosses? And it probably depends on who's sitting there.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that myself. Is it a case where it could be faster to do the hook route, even though it's not technically required?
Yeah, though with the hook already in hand, if Tallgrant exhausts all other options before diving the hook route, then Tallgrant probably gets that rat tail and decides, you know what, we should check this before we go walking.
Yeah, definitely.
Is K Pink on? You can tell how much time I spent looking at the flag set. Taylor
It is,
Swifting
yes.
Rat Tail is in one of the Eblin chests. I want to say it was Lamia's Black Cat or Lamia Black Cats, but I can't swear to that.
And yeah, confirming K Pink is on, so
Ogres, thank you, chat. Well, regardless, Tallgrant's headed to those chests as Kyrios is heading right up Ordeals, so one of our runners should be getting the Rat Tail Hook combo momentarily. Then the other right behind them.
yeah, they've taken two wildly different paths so far, but they're likely going to converge onto that same point, very close to each other.
Yeah, and they're each dispatching with their stuff with a good amount of efficiency, part of which is, well, you have Kane with an angry stick, but part of it is that they're flying to and fro effectively. They're routing in a way that minimizes the time. It's no surprise that either of these runners made it to brackets.
Yeah, no, these are both excellent runners. And, strongly recommend that if you want to see high level play of Free Enterprise, give them both a follow and check them out because, yeah, they're outstanding runners of this game.
And it gives us a quick moment to call out the team putting this all together for us as well. Aside from our runners, who, had they not agreed to be restreamed, we would have no show. But we've got Drinks Glue putting together said restream, grabbing the info from their streams straight to here, and tracking, keeping us straight, spying things like quick rat tails. We've got Stony, and otherwise known in Twitch as Derek A. And on the comms here with the easy and fun part is Rowdy Sniper joining me.
Yeah, no, Commander and I definitely have the fun job of this whole thing. So definitely it made tip of the hat to Stony and Drake's Glue for doing the hard work. There is,
Kyrios will have first option on this rat tail turn-in.
yeah, still needs to raise the hovercraft, I think. Yep.
Are you thirsty enough? No. Wondering if Kyrios was thirsty enough to loot the basement. If I'd had time to bet beforehand, I would have said no.
Yeah, it's getting, it's one of those things where I've seen a lot of runners kind of pick that point of, okay, I have my source of power for the seed. I have, like Rydia with Bahamut, or, Cecil with a big stick, or Edge with good weapons. In this case, we already have Kane with that Avenger. There's not a whole lot more you need to purchase right now, I don't think.
And again, here's this Z fight coming at not being a factor. Like, Kane with an Avenger isn't my is very welcome for a Z fight, but it sure isn't my answer. But when that's not even a question, then you don't have to worry about it. We just need to answer things like, what is that Masamune altar? What is a Giant of Babel? Does it have a hat? Is it cute? Wait, no, sorry. Old habit.
A distressing few number of our standard bosses do not have hats.
Do something about that. Tail turn-in was a lunar staff. No, not a key item. You were good.
Yep, very much. Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Kyrios still needs to do that flame dog chest.
Yep. I'm gonna run everything down first.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I would. I want nothing to do with this hook route if I can help it. I would hate to dive the hook route, not find the magma key along the way, and realize, oh no.
Yeah, especially since, we only need the darkness crystal, we need the adamant at this point, and we need a package, and we are in go mode. This is almost as few items as we need for go mode in this seed as you needed in the ZZA flag set.
And it is, in fact, well, other than the package. Yes, that's the only thing. It's the only thing. But do we need to do all the objectives? Can we fade package?
It is 6 of 8.
Okay, so we don't need the package. We can get go mode with just the ZDA items. Okay. In fact, once we get underground, as Cubs is saying, darkness itself is the go mode for darkness plus 2 underground. And we do have our underground access in our hook route. We just would prefer the forced magma. So yeah, as it stands now, fading forge and fading package is the play, unless something really, really rude is at one of our weakness spots, then we might be better off handling one of the other objectives instead.
Yeah, one of the twists of this flag set is the no free bosses flag is on. So things like Dark Knight Cecil in Cape Bahamut or the Masamune altar are pretty much go find another objective.
Right. No, just the Stalemen here have the twin harp. I'm cracking up because if there's one check that is like, maybe I don't care if magma's there or if it leads to magma, you're not worth my time. It's probably that lengthy twin harp.
Yeah, so far neither of these runners deciding to be the hero of the people and showing off the randomized harp song that our community has put together. Those Zeus gauntlets in that armor shop in Cave Evelyn are very nice to have.
And
But
the
yeah, to
lovely.
your point, that's a very long cutscene. You don't want to have to do that if you could avoid it. Though Kanatsu here says,
However, let us reconsider that option.
let's see what the Mad Ogres up here have.
Also, at Ruby is a special rite of passage because in this version of the randomizer, that is considered a safe boss. Even if we did not have the be unsafe flag on, that would be a perfectly valid, logically required underground. Now that in 5.0, Kainazo will be added to the boss, and the flag is being called Be Risky instead. But yeah, it's this particular boss in this particular spot for an underground path is definitely somewhat of a rite of passage for people learning this game, and even for the old hands, it will definitely make you think twice about your fight.
Yeah, this is where that cane anchor becomes a little bit of a little bit of a challenge because one thing you can do to handle this boss is to lower your heroes or your anchor's agility, so the boss will go slower if you have characters that are faster relatively to that character. We're not really going to have that option with Kane with an Avenger. We're just gonna
Right. Because, well, the thing is it just speeds you up to the boss. It puts your people on parity. It doesn't so much. It actually makes the boss faster. It just does more to make you faster. It puts everyone at RA1, as opposed to, say, having a boss at RA3 where your whole party is at 5 to 7. So, my preference here is to fast anchor it and give me a little bit more time when the water is gathered to land my spell and not have to worry about sitting on somebody and being like, the moment I see the message, here comes your Thor Rage. But it it mostly comes down to runner preference, I think. And I would agree, though, that more runners prefer to handle it the way you described than the way I tackle it.
that's one of the one of the things about this randomizer is that there are more than one way to solve these puzzles that the game presents. In fact, our Cubs rules in the chat pointing out that there were Thunderclaws for sale in that cave Evelyn. So to your point, you've got Kane doing a lot of damage. You've got Edge with that Thunderclaw could get through those waves. And um, what was
I
what
missed
was
it.
that yellow item?
I missed it.
Pinktail.
Okay, thank you. So we have
Thank you,
two
Stony.
possibilities on this route for leading to the magma. It could be the twin harp or the pinktail.
And I think that's gonna mean that Tallgrant will likely go ahead and just do the twin harp if the Pinktail does not have the magma key, just because you've already left, you've already gone. It's gonna be faster to do the twin harp than it is to walk all the way back through here, I think.
We'll see if Kyrios makes that same decision in just a moment. Yep, Kyrios agrees. So we had a lot of overworld convergence. I think if I remember right, Kyrios is the one that hit the shops. So Kyrios has that Thunderclaw, but Tallgrant doesn't, and that's why Kyrios is now getting out of Babel a little later.
Yeah, that's pretty much the difference. Is just a couple of shop checks here and there, more on Curios's side. Both these runners are very much neck and neck in this foot race. And oh,
Well, Pinktail isn't magma, but it is go mode. And now you know that that twin harp either is your magma or leads to it.
well, with the now we also have the last arm chest and the hairdryer's chest. So that twin harp may not be the
Oh,
answer.
right. Oh, wait. Whoa, wait. Is that legit for Force Magma to have to go to the moon?
Well, they're not lunar checks though. They're above ground Miabs, right?
Okay, yeah, I'm just not sure of the logic of the flag
But
set.
that yeah, then that's fine. And yeah, Kaon.
Okay, thank you, Taylor
Okay,
Swifting. And that's Right. That's
Okay.
the normal.
I was thrown there by the by the Miab versus the moon flags.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wasn't sure which way. Yeah, Flame Dog was Avenger, but hilariously, Avenger is also in the Troya shop, weapon shop. So, go figure.
The upside for Kyrios having spent the money is that he can at least have that edge throw the extra. So, you know,
Or maybe we get a Cecil. Cecil likes to get angry too. Is this the flag set that has Distinct 7? Or is that ZZA? No, it's not AC. I know it's not Ace.
it looks like this is Distinct 7, yes.
Okay. And we've seen, well, we've got 5 in the party, and that's all we've seen so far, right?
Yeah, because I believe it was a second Porum in the Sand Ruby at the Sand Ruby the Ben Kaipo, excuse me.
It's definitely a dupe in either way, but I'm being told that I will be yanked off with a different kind of hook if I don't stop talking because it's time for DJ Spoony Bard to play us a song. All right, I blame our tracker. Um,
Yeah, our tracker in chat has been coming up with scenarios for a very long chain for these runners to get that magma key, and we um, we certainly have that starting here with the package, which is an objective. So it is convenient for these runners to have this on their path to underground access. So very nice find here.
and chat letting us know that the song comes from Xenoblade 2. Thank you, Julescent.
That looks like a Tella here in Mist Cave or at Town of Mist.
Well, that's 6.
So earlier I had mentioned that Tella is not the worst character to have in this flag set because he's got his spells. We've been up ordeals to get those spells. I don't know with Palamon Porum that you're necessarily going to want to grab him at this stage, but I could see taking him over the Cid.
Sid, yes, because honestly, they both have the same problem in this flag set. Kane is the hero, and he's going so fast that, like, Sid is getting a turn here, and this is fun, but he's just not going to get that many turns. A very useful turn, in fact. Says Kane, stop it. Let the cutscene end. Very, very heads up use of kamikaze there. Kyrios, meanwhile, is going to let us count. That's 4. 4 swings isn't too bad, actually.
So
Beauty and Discovery pointing out something that I'd missed, that our package sprite was Anna, and that our character here is Tella.
always fun when the game decides to be thematically appropriate.
So here's that key item, free key item after burning the village. And the chain ends. Not nearly as rude as our tracker was hoping for, but a bit of a ride nonetheless.
Yeah, but that does mean that we are in. Yeah, we have everything, every one of these boss fights open to us. So the chain is over, but now everything is opened up to us very much so.
Don't have to fight a rude Kainazo either.
Yeah, that's
It's doable, and to go back to what was asked in chat earlier, thoughts on the runners bailing when they could do it. Like, you could justify it after the fact with a package. Hey, now you don't have to worry about chasing that boss. But that's more of after the fact. In the moment, it's not necessarily a question of if you could, but if you should. There are a lot of times where a fight is within a runner's capabilities, but the amount of time it's going to take to get through it is the deciding factor. And that may have been what was on our runners' minds when they left, but it will definitely make for a good question when they're done if they decide to join us for an interview.
yeah, that is an excellent summation of that. You know, there's a lot of fights that when you look at them, you're like, I can do this, but it's going to take a long time. You know, I've been tripped up many times by like a CPU fight at areas that were a little bit harder and a lot of HP to chew through, but I could do it.
And sometimes, I know with me at least, and I'm probably not the only person, um, in a tournament setting when I'm on restream, sometimes there's that little urge to be like, part of it is maybe my opponent doesn't do this and I want to take the gamble, and part of it is let's show off a cute little strat of what's needed to get through here.
I have been guilty of that myself as well. Always will take that opportunity to hide to do some shenanigans with Edward if possible.
Good stuff. Kyrios, I see you are a man of culture like myself and are a big fan of crystal rings.
Yeah, that'll help speed up the rest of this party to keep up with that fast Kane. +5 agility and outstanding defense as well.
Exactly, beauty. Felt cute. May strat later. That. So some divergence here. Tallgrant gonna go ahead, launch that whale. Kyrios heading underground, see what these Fair March bosses are, and get that Fair March freebie. You know which one I'm a fan of the moment I said freebie. Ooh, party rock. Great. That treasury money out of 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good chunk of change in the vault. In the more less of a treasure, more of a vault today.
Yeah.
Hey, Artemis Bow. Speaking of things that'll speed up that Sid, that'll help with that. He might actually get some turns.
My God. Sid's running out of the back with an Artemis bow. I've never seen it move so fast. He's got a crystal ring.
Kyrios,
Orbs.
go
Orbs at
check this start.
queen.
Ooh.
Oh, and the nasty Ogo at king. Yeah, that's probably on my. Hey, I did a package instead of that.
Yeah, we've got Porum. She can keep the party healed up. Not ideal because our best source of damage is an Avenger, and Zerkers are not very good at choosing targets, especially when you're in a fight where if you take out the attacker and defender, the CPU gets really mad and just starts dropping globes on people.
Somebody once told me, as we see a duplicate ninja on the moon, but somebody once told me that you can tell how experienced an FE runner is by how creatively they attempt to lose the CPU fight. When dealing with berserkers, one of the creative options is to spam blink on the attacker and just let the berserkers tear through everyone else. But you're in trouble if you don't get that blink out in time.
Yeah, this is where that extra Tello would have been nice to have because then he could help Porum keep those blinks up. Grant going down to take these lunar subterranean altars. We do have the crystal sword and the Masamune altar, so uh, definitely worth the long walk here.
Check your freebies, do your objectives, especially on a no Z fight flag set.
These runners do have one of the 6 objectives they need done, having burned the village of mist with the package. They need to do that in order to get their magma key and go underground. Um, did Tallgrant check the Fey March?
I'm looking over the flag set, seeing what things we haven't covered. We've got a Witchburn, a Witch Bez, and a Woden. The last 2 of which are new to the fork. Siren Steel, really unattractive with no EXP, no GP. You could siren up a Centipede outside of Kokol if you really needed a Silk Web for a rude fight. Question mark? I'm stretching.
That would be the time you use that. Well, and speaking of Witch Bez,
so we'll get to see the Witchblade shown off. What this is that when the Shadow Dragon pops up, instead of just going demolish, 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 it'll fire off a few spells, and Golbez likewise will not automatically have his normal spell sequence. He'll have something different, but in Golbez's case, it will still be a 3 spell sequence that will cycle.
so,
Size. That's cute.
yeah.
Gas.
Ooh, missing breath.
Oh, but the breath missed.
That's good.
Which is the funny thing about breath. Again, something else somebody once told me is that with breath hitting everybody with a wide variety of status attacks, as long as you've got one person in the party that would be hit by the breath, like they don't outright dodge it, and they've got immunity then to part of breath, then that fizzles the entire attack.
Fortunately, this is not the fastest. This is not the highest magic attack spot here. Blair's
Glare?
still doing some damage.
Well, I don't think you can reflect glare anyway.
No.
If you were hoping to kill Golbez by his own spells, but as far as survival, yeah, that
Yeah.
that is at least it's survivable.
Oh,
Oh, you can
very.
sure reflect that.
I was
I
just
didn't know that was in the script.
well. That's I think that's because we do have the be unsafe flag on. That does add a few extra. My understanding is that does add a few extra spells to Golbez's pool there. Uh, so yeah, we start off with a very limited number of Star Veils here, and I think that this might be the time to use some of them.
Oh God, it's Golbez with a nuke.
Yeah. So unfortunately, like you said, the glare. I was just about to say, I was Tall Grant probably not the happiest to see that glare having used the Star Veil on Porum, but then that nuke kind of changed that
Yeah.
calculation a little bit.
Taylor Swifting. I have seen Wyvern cast Meteo. It's not pretty. I've seen seeds where everyone hung up the ghost because you had to go through Wyvern on the moon casting Meteo. We're just like, no, we don't have time for this. We'll deal with it. Someone will do it later just to show that it can be done.
Kyrios
El-
going down to Cave Bahamut here.
Elvin Sorrow singing Sid's praises as he does, as Sid tanks the glare. I wonder if Sid has some fire resistance on.
Well, no, I think it was about the same amount of damage that Palom took. It was just that natural HP pool that he has.
Oh, Mom Bomb at Cave Bahamut. You were talking earlier about spots that never attack being super punchy. Well, Cave Bahamut is one of them.
Yeah, I love when the game validates the discussion topics we have earlier.
Right?
Case in point, also that Ogopogo at the Leviathan spot.
Golbez finally falls.
Yeah, missing out on that experience for that Porum, unfortunately, but definitely getting Palm with getting up to those level 3 elemental spells, which is very nice.
Second objective for Tallgrant. And would you like another Avenger? Have you considered, the potential usefulness?
Another
Do you
dart
have
for
time to
Edge.
talk about our Lord and Savior, Angry Stick? Um, hmm,
Load, Loading up
Sid
Edge's.
getting smacked for over $2,000 on the left side.
Oof. Yeah, I don't know. Other than the crystal rings, I haven't seen too many armor pickups for these runners.
Yeah, same. I think I saw a Tiara buy early, and that probably got equipped on Porum a while back. But that's
Yeah,
about it.
which Tiara is a magnificent piece of equipment for Porum, even though it doesn't boost her. Even though the Wisdom boost doesn't help her spell casting, it's still a great helmet for her.
Oh, oh, Rexol. So you're saying? Oh wait, it probably didn't go on Sid. Dang it! It's probably on Kane. Kane probably has that fire resistance. Oh well.
And Kyrios getting
Oh no,
to
Kane has a bandana. Maybe it's just not being used anymore.
Kyrios getting through to the third phase here, getting the Quake cast from Pound to mop up this Mom Bomb fight and get through it. Very, very well done.
Indeed. Objective parity for the moment. And a ribbon. You, you're talking about a lack of defensive gear, and that'll help mitigate that.
Yeah, being able to avoid some of those status effects as well will make that Golbez's stat didn't hit part of it too many dangerous status effects, but that'll definitely help make it a little safer for Kyrios.
Yeah, the dragon was the status. It was a size, and then a gas, and then a breath. Nothing but status from Shadow Pet. So it'll be nice for that.
And Tall Grant has one of your favorite fights here at the Masamne altar. Mylon and Friends.
Where the fun never ends. I don't sing it anymore. I've been told that goes over the time limit. Stop trying to get us DMCA'd.
I'm sure the estate of Jim Davis would appreciates not having to go through the litigation. Not estate, excuse me.
Nasty lit ones, because Masamune altar. It's very punchy. Has high magic. Oh, look who has the lightning resistance. It's pouring.
Yeah, that tiara. We sung its praises.
I think Kyrios had the mass crystal ring purchased. Does a crystal ring block lightning or no? I think it does dragons.
Yeah, it's just dragon resistance, which
Okay.
which will help with that Ogo Pogo.
Ogo's a dragon?
Ah, shoot, no, darn it. So
D-Lunars is a dragon.
D-Lunars is a dragon,
but it doesn't punch.
Ogo Pogo very much looks like a dragon, but is not. It's even more of a curveball because with like Leviathan and Bahamut, you could say, well, they're they're summoned monsters, so therefore they don't count as dragons. Ogopogo doesn't have that excuse. Ogopogo just is Ogopogo.
Yeah, and there are a couple of gauntlets here on the moon that could have our red or our blue dragons. Ah, yes, Drinks Glue. Diamond Ring is that thunder resistance. I'm also unimpressed. I think Sork Robe is Palam's thunder protection source. Oh, Kyrios just says I'm not even gonna deal with this, or maybe you're gonna yeah, you're gonna adjust your Oh, we have side strats. So, Kyrios is taking advantage of status priority by putting Size and Piggy out. The hold gas, the status that imparts is of lower priority than Size and Piggy. So by having this status on, is going to render himself immune to that part of this.
And meanwhile, tallgrant getting through Mylon and friends and getting a crystal sword for his troubles, as well as another objective lit up.
Reclaiming the lead in objectives, now halfway through, and is quite naturally done with the bottom of the moon. There's a Bomb waiting for him at cave value, which it seems is where he's heading. And then having seen now, if tallgrant is the one that went underground, I don't remember did, then tallgrant knows about that Ogo at the King of Monsters spot.
I'm pretty sure tallgrant didn't peak the Fame Arch. Yeah, just grab that one crystal ring out of.
Now just Kyrios. Oh right, yes, because Kyrios has the Earth crystal lit up.
Yep.
Trust your tracker. Trust your tracker.
But I don't believe Kyrios bought the Dragoon Spear that Tallgrant has, so that could be a big difference for Tallgrant.
Yeah, I'm just counting objectives here. Tallgrant has 3. Cave Bahamut makes 4. There's still 2 to go. If you know about the Ogo as Kyrios does, you might be tempted to look into the giant, say working through the giant is better than that Ogo. But without knowing what's in the Feymarch, I'm not sure you have that incentive at all.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. One thing that kind of enters the calculus if you're trying to make that giant play, even if you do have that knowledge, is what's left that's worse than Ogo Pogo, or at least a pain. We know Kanatsu's out of the pool because we saw them at the hook too, but there's still a lot of terrifying bosses that could be waiting on that giant that
Sure.
are,
Especially with B unsafe on. Rexall beat me to it. Yeah, DKC is
yeah,
enough to ruin your day at Giant and make practically anything better.
yeah.
Um,
And Kyrios has the crystal rings. Those will provide resistance to every party member that has one on for the swings. Porn has sufficiently leveled she can keep the party healed up from the blazes. Um, I I think that this party and the tools that we have available do make that Ogopogo a little bit more a little bit more manageable. Both of these runners have ways to get through that fight, so I would expect both of them just to head to the Fey March, including Grant, even though he doesn't know what's waiting.
yeah, I do tend to agree with you.
It's two
Um,
bosses for one objective versus two bosses for two objectives.
yeah, Giant is Giant is more of the gamble. If you do, if you do think you're going to struggle with one of those bosses, and you're hoping, because we've seen a lot of roods, and we also have some relatively free fights. Although, again, we have B no free, so that does kill a lot of the fights that a different flag set would consider free. Your Dark Imps, you can't just stone them or hourglass them away. You are to slog through them, and a lot of the other bosses that traditionally don't have the boss bit, you don't have that as an out.
Grant is done with the Mom Bomb fight, lighting up the objective for Cave Bahamut. And I think Kyrios probably getting close to wrapping up this Mylon fight.
Yeah, so we'll be on tallgrant's heels to head back to Earth and finish things up, most likely at the Fey March. Grant is out first.
One thing I
Let's
like.
see. Let's get a time on when Grant exits the well. Well, just gets back down to Earth. He might fly somewhere. So hovers in at 59:45 is when, for Grant, the big whale breaks the atmosphere. So we'll see how much longer Kyrios needs.
One thing I like that Kyrios is doing, not wasting time in animations with Edge or Sid or anybody else taking actions, just relying on Kane swinging with the Avenger, and when Palom's turn comes up, using that Fire 3 for some big damage. Very good, efficient use of the turns there.
Agreed. On Falls, I believe that was an Oh My Bot skip. Yeah, we don't have we definitely can't do, to Jazer's point in chat, we definitely can't do slow anchor strats for Kane. We don't have any of the tools we talked about at the beginning of the match. No curse ring, no drain spear, no drain sword, no dwarf axe. We're committed to fast anchoring this and trying to get it through.
Yeah, that dwarf, even that dwarf axe only doing -5 at this point with the amount of experience that Kane has. That's not going to pump the brakes enough.
No. 101.33 for Kyrios breaking atmosphere. So that is 148 for Tallgrant's lead.
Tall Grant seeing those two bosses at the Fey March and deciding to go with the one that is going to be annoying, but do pretty much guaranteed to be able to do this. Um,
Yeah.
One thing that could be a minor factor is that Kyrios's edge has a lot more experience than Tall Grant, so the darts will do a little bit more damage.
And Kyrios' Edge has a Thunderclaw, and CPU is a machine, so for this fight, that could help too. Tall Grant not being cute at all with this fight, just going with the classic steady strat. Kill the defender, then kill the CPU. No AoE spells, no Zerkers. Just get the job done.
Yeah,
Am I wrong about that, Jason? Have I been kind of sworn CPU was a machine, or at least was weak to Thunder? There's something going on there?
I, I
There's a
don't
lot to
think.
keep track of in this
I was
game.
gonna say, it's one of those things where you just sit there, it's just like, and you know,
Like, I accept it doesn't float, even though it's hovering there in the air. I know that one. I know that one. It does not, in fact, float, despite the fact that it's bobbing up and down.
so I do like Grant using some of those darts on the CPU. As even though it is Ogo Pogo waiting for him, he doesn't know that. I think this is the better fight to use those darts on just to wrap it up a little bit faster.
Right.
It does switch that cane over to the Avenger.
With as rude as both of these fights are, and our runners taking different fights at different times, although Kyrios started later, it would be the randoest of deciding factors if one of these two fights had the Adamant Rock, and so that runner could just dodge the other fight and just leave and forge.
Right now, Kyrios
It won't be
hoping to
Tall
get
Grant.
this, does not get the Cure 4 off in time.
No, it's a rude fight. It really is. in this place at this
Oh,
time. Oh, and Kyrios' last save was on the moon.
oh no.
Oh,
That's. Does
oh
that
dang.
include the. That doesn't include
Oh,
the Mylon. Oh,
oh,
that.
that's
I,
heartbreaking. And
we've
you're
all
right,
done.
chat. K summon is off, so my whimsy is not a possibility. But
We've all,
oof.
we've all done this. We've all done this.
Oh yeah, everyone
You're
has
in a
done this at
race.
some point,
It feels bad.
and it it,
Um,
it, it feels bad. It happens, you know.
you know, Kyrios doing the right thing though, just kind of
Yeah.
taking a few seconds to say some things that we can't repeat on air,
Yep. And
and
just
dusting
you go
himself
right
off.
back
And
into it.
yeah,
Yep.
this is what you got to do if you find yourself in the situation because you don't know what's happening to your opponent. You just got to press on and just kind of keep an eye out for that dot done.
Grant now heading into the rude. And Grant just resets after the big waves.
I
Might need to reevaluate some. Okay.
doing some shopping here. Might be looking for that drain spear.
Right, selling off some things first. An arty bow.
Yeah, that might be it. That +5 from
Okay,
Crystal Ring and 10.
we're speeding up our white mage. So what I strongly suspect will happen is that Paul Grant's first action with form will be to unequip that bow. And that bow unfortunately does destroy her spellcasting ability, but it does speed her up. And again, one of these finely coded things about FF4 is that relative agility is calculated at the beginning of the battle, and unless you directly affect it with something like fast or slow, then changing someone's agility through their equipment isn't to impact their RA. So you can give someone the bow at the beginning of the fight to get them to speed up, and then unequip it so that you're not taking that penalty afterwards.
Yeah, that's one of those things that's one of those things that you learn and you immediately take advantage of it because that's sometimes your only path through these fights. And Grant, yeah, try and do everything to try and get this agility set up more in his favor, putting the dwarf axe on Kane for that -5 agility, Artemis bows for Sid and Porum so they speed up.
right?
trying to
Because
get the. Sorry.
yeah, I don't know if Sid's ever gonna fire an arrow, but with the way this Ogo is, he might toss a timely life potion or cure potion at just the right moment to get through.
Yeah, throw that elixir they've got in their back pocket or something. Just be that chemist that Sid really kind of does excel at.
And here we go. So, oh no, we're just gonna keep the arty bow on for the moment. Kyrios gets reclaims his objective, and now we'll see if that bounce in that Ogo motivates him to peek the giant. Again, I wouldn't expect it to, but you never know.
Yeah, no, that's late on that elixir and tall and
Oh,
that
and
Ogo. It's
the
not looking
wave
good.
cuts off the elixir, and there goes that fight. Oof. Yeah, no, Grant has decided that with all of the agility issues and other problems. No, Grant coming in again.
Yeah,
Grant
no,
says,
gonna.
"Here we go again," and Kyrios also not going to go to the Giants.
Yeah, again, they're two very difficult boss spots for very different reasons. We've got
Yeah,
a lot of bosses we have not seen that will be very unpleasant on the giant. I appreciate making that the play of last the last play. Those Bacchus wine steals coming in for Tall Grant. They're not gonna do the Avenger glitch in case Kane gets knocked down. I like that play. Keeps that Dragoon Spear attack on.
only Ogo was a dragon.
Ah, darn it.
You know what? I'll keep calling CPU a machine, and you can keep calling an Ogo a dragon.
Yep, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair compromise. I'm glad we could meet in the middle here.
That definitely
No,
does not look like quad damage to me.
no, no. Rex pointing out in chat that there is there is a little bit of an extra incentive to attempt the giant. Um, there is a chance that the last arm chest has the adamant rock.
That would be super spicy. Then you don't have to worry about either of these.
But
But
yeah, that's
where? So if it's not there, where could our adamant rock be still? Could be at
uh,
hair. We had at least one runner check hair
yeah.
dragon, right?
Kyrios did the hair dryers.
Yeah. Could be at Zot. Could be in the sealed cave or dwarf castle. Is the warp glitch on? And it could be anywhere. It could be in the Apan series, not at the Bonk. But have our runners done Sheila? Tell me somebody did Sheila one. Tell me somebody did Sheila one.
No, I don't think either runner set that up. I think they.
I realized we had go mode, but
Yeah,
we had go mode. What do we care about Sheila one? It's fair. It's fair. I get it. I get it. And yeah, all of the trap chests and the poison treasury, that definitely, all of the sylph trap chests, wait, no, that's not a problem. It's only above ground and moon, surface, right? For key items. So yeah, we don't care about sylph chests. We don't care about sirens in the lower tower. We don't care
right.
about warriors.
Yeah, that life coming out probably right before that next big wave. So Tall
No,
Grant.
no worries, tracker. I've made any number of incorrect statements about how this flag is set is and the game in general. I'm not trying to zones. No worries at all. Thank you for getting everything lit up. We appreciate it.
Yeah. So Kyrios also back at this Ogopogo still has to do the queen of the Fey March fight as well. Still has to take on that CPU, but
But this is the test. This is the one. the CPU is doable, but just annoying. This is, you know, ugh.
Oof. That is.
Yeah, the only comfort is your opponent probably has to deal with this too. Like, unless your opponent did something spicy and found the adamant rock that you didn't. And you know what? If they did, you just kind of, I at least would just salute and say, good game.
Yeah, no, knowing what you know about this flag set by this seed, this point in time, you know your opponent doesn't have the adamant because you haven't seen the dot dot, especially in
Oh,
Kyrios' case. But Kyrios gets through the Ogopogo.
Kyrios takes it down, gets it done. 2 people standing, which is 1 more than you need.
Now we'll have to go and immediately go
Save,
next to
go save, go save. Thank you, Kyrios.
yeah, honestly, I would have just healed up that poor him and gone with it. I would have been trying for I would have been very aggressive there because I know that I lost that time with the save mishap. I would have just
Now,
healed her up because it's CPU.
it depends on what your strat is. If your plan is to just, if your plan is to, you know, safety it, you know, and nothing spicy, then yeah, you could go over. But if you're planning on anything spicy at all to try and get through the fight faster, then you best save first.
Oh,
And tallgrant bouncing once again off of this rude Ogo.
yeah, Ogopogo picking exactly who had a turn queued up to go heal. So, oh, there's a heroin rope
Well,
there.
that'll
But
speed up your
yeah,
caster some more.
but not much money for that.
And also, definitely when to point out Kyrios walking back and saving, you've been burned once badly by the I should have saved. Yeah, we're gonna
No,
once
it's a
bitten,
very
twice shy.
it is the wiser decision for sure. Uh,
But yeah, it doesn't look like Kyrios is doing anything fancy with the CPU. Just attack. And now just working on the back. And Grant, although Grant's probably feeling the time pressure now after this many bounces, doesn't know it, but this is it for it. You're gonna have to get through Ogo on this fight.
yeah, no, this is
Unequip Sorry Bow.
yeah, that's real smart. Get that cure 3 up. Still gonna be weakened because of the heroin robe, unfortunately.
Jump,
No luck for
reaching
Grant.
into the back row, landing for a good 3,000. I don't think we found a boomerang to back row or edge. But darts also don't care about row.
Yeah, and did and
Oh, we have a quake out. He is being a little
oh,
spicy. He was probably counting damage and thought it was just about done. Is his math good, or are we about to see some globes?
oh, well, it should have enough. There we go. Should have enough damage, and there it is. Yeah.
That's it. Nicely calculated by Kyrios to finish it. This is not going to be by much if tallgrant gets through on this go.
So we'll have to wait for the
Official.
GG's in chat. We'll have to wait for the official congratulations.
There
There
it
it
is.
is.
Kyrios, a thriller of a race, getting through the test of the Ogo at the king spot. Just a little bit. Both of them had bounces off of it. Kyrios just finally pulled off the strat and got the RNG that was needed.
This is why you
Well done.
don't, very well done. This is why you don't lose your head when something goes awry and you just kind of keep pressing. Kyrios could have panicked after that reset that brought him back to the moon, but kept his head down and got through this seed.
Absolutely. And we'll see if after Kyrios settles down a little bit, if he's ready to join us for an interview. But meanwhile, if Grant has eyes on the room, Grant knows that Kyrios is done, but is going in to give this Ogo another try. So tip of the cap to Tallgrant for saying, "Hey, I want to make sure that I can do this. I want to finish this out." Now we are indeed joined by Kyrios.
GG
GG.
Kyrios.
Oh, thank you.
So the one early question,
Yeah.
I'm sure your mind is on how all of that went down in the last 10 minutes. But my
Mm-hmm.
question goes earlier. Um, you're running down the hook route. You know that the hook route has your way forward. It has your path to magma somehow in one of those two chests.
Mhm.
You see the twin harp, you see the Kainazo, you see the pink tail, and you decide to go out and chase the magma. Was there a point when you were ever considering the hook dive? And if so, what was it that caused you to say, you know what, no hook dive for me?
Definitely considered it. The biggest piece that brought me to a no is that I didn't have any agility fixing gear for Porum, and I only had the one Zeus Rage. So I was going to be in a situation where I have to go in with Kane Avengered, I have to toss the X-Cal, I have to get the Zeus Rage perfectly, and I have to hope that I do enough damage by the sec, because I don't think Palm survives even that wave at that point. I have to hope I do enough damage that Porum's healing can cover it. I mean, it's not impossible. It also helped that in literally the last practice seed I did, which I posted in Clips and Seeds a couple days ago, it was the exact same setup, or I guess it was an edge hero instead of a Kane hero, but it was Kainatsu at hook route that I had to take because it was just like I had Xcal Cecil in that though, which just made it so much easier. I think it's possible, but I think there's enough. It's what, probably 1 in 3 I win it on my first try. And if you're not winning it on your first try, then you're probably giving up time versus going back and doing the rest of the stuff. Now, there's the chance that it's like Twin Harp into Earth Crystal into Baron, and then you feel terrible. But it also helped that Package was out there as a chain item and an objective item. So that, like, it was kind of lucky that it hit, but it wasn't zero that it was going to hit that way.
It makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. Very nice answer.
So, Commander alluded to it a little bit. You went down, you completed the moon, you went down to the Fey March, you got beat by Ogopogo the first time, and when you reset, you found yourself back on the moon. What was
I,
going through your head at that particular moment?
I would have bet everything that I had saved there because I specifically took it super slow and did the tenting to get everyone up to top. And I didn't actually think I was going to win that first Ogo fight. I was pretty sure I had to go in with the Avenger equipped for buffering, but I wanted to get a feel for how Porum's speed was going to be relative to that. And I thought I was going to be, oh, I'm in. It takes me 30, 45 seconds. I get a feel, and then I win it for sure the second time. And then I was on the moon again. And that was, yeah, that was a 5-minute error, and I'm glad that didn't cost my team.
My official story is going to be that your partner's 64 floor glitch corrupted your save file. Don't ask me how that works, but I'm just going to blame Tibble.
He held up his end of the bargain too, so can't complain.
It's true. That's been one of the great things for me, and from the sounds of it, you as well, from what you're saying. Running this as a team. I know my team, we all did a great job supporting each other, cheering each other on. It was to get there at some point, it was two of us picking up for the third, and the third was a different person each time. So that's been great for us, and it sounds like that's been the case for your team as well.
For sure. It feels like it means more when there's other people who are sharing in the wins and losses. I don't know, at least for me. Like, I know there's some people who are super driven and need to win everything, and I do like winning, but like losing hurts a lot more when there's other people counting on you.
Well, this win does keep you in the tournament, and you will advance to the next round. Congratulations on that. Your thoughts as you move on to the semifinals? It's
all great runners at this point. I believe we're in line for a rematch, so that's also another nice little twist of a team we've already played. like I said, it's all great runners at this point. You're going to have competitive races. I mean, I assume Grant found his way either running into the Keinatsu and missing the immediate darkness, or going down one of the. This was a seed where there were just lots of different places to go. But I've been watching Grant closely through this tournament, and he has done a great job. And I was very worried both early when I made the Keinatsu decision, but also late when I'm like, this 5 minutes could absolutely just be the thing. So no, it's you get great racers, great races against great racers every week here.
Well, all it was is that Ogo was just more of a wall for Grant. Grant reached Earth from the moon about a minute 45 before you. And Grant didn't know Ogo was there at the time because Grant hadn't been to Feymarch yet. But all it is then is like Grant was you were both in the Feymarch together and then you bounced back. Grant just had a harder time with the Ogo is what it came down to.
Yeah, I don't know if he found heroin rope somewhere, because I know his early shopping is usually a different route than what I take. But that was kind of why I sold out everything for that Artie bow before leaving the Feymarch, because that, like, getting Porum fast enough is just how you have to do if you're going to take that fight and not commit to the giant, which also would have been like a pretty reasonable way to go about it. Just being like, I don't want to do that Ogo, I'm going to do the giant and then come back and crush whichever I want. But if you don't have the agility to make Porum relative to Kane actually helpful there, it's a hard, slow fight.
Yeah, I don't think he had it at first. He did eventually go Feymarch shopping and found it, but that was after a few attempts. About that giant, yeah, we theorized about that in the booth, especially with you knowing the Ogo, if you take that giant, but we ultimately decided that, especially with be unsafe on, there were just too many rude possibilities. Giant.
Yeah, I felt
Apparently
like
you agreed.
I felt like I had the tools to get through that Ogo. Like I said, I knew it was going to be tight, which is why I kind of wanted that one shot to feel it out. That worked so poorly, but Kane with an Avenger and a fast Porum with Blink solve pretty much all the problems.
I think I'm about out of questions for Kyrios. Do you have any, Rowdy?
No, that's all I had to ask. So I just want to say
Okay.
GG and congratulations
Yeah.
again, Kyrios. Very
Thank
well
you very
raced.
much. I'll get out of your hair so you can talk to Grant. Thanks to Glue for running the restream, Stony for pressing the buttons, Commander and Sniper for doing all the fun talking. Talk to you later.
All right. Talk
Thank
to
you
you
very
then,
much.
and congratulations. That was Kyrios, winner of this really tight, really, really tough race. Tough seed, big challenge rolled up by Drinks Glue, and both runners showing off a lot of ability to get through it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. tallgrant ran the seed very well, like you said earlier, a minute and a half in the lead, and doing a very good job of getting through that Ogo Pogo fight. And Grant is in the chat with us. GG tallgrant.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Doing good.
That 544 exact hit on Porum killed me. I felt so good at that point, and
oh my goodness.
I was sitting there counting damage. We were at 18,000. We were about halfway through. I was building up Palom to that quake, and then it just took her down, and the fight was wrecked. And after that, it was just bad target after bad target. I had the strategy. I had the way to do it. I actually bumped into the weapon shop to see if I could find dartables for edge, because that would have made that better. And of course, nothing in there doing. And just couldn't get over the hump. He was a great runner, and I knew that I was giving him too much time for it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you plan to go back and watch, but I'll summarize the last 10 minutes or so of it for you. You break atmosphere after clearing the moon in the big whale. Kyrios does so about a minute 45 behind you. But Kyrios has been to Feymarch, so Kyrios knows what's waiting, whereas you're coming in blind, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you get in, you start going, you take the fights in opposite order. I believe you started with orbs, and Kyrios went straight to the Ogo.
Yeah, I just wanted to get as much life as I could for it.
Right, and this is where it got spicy. Kyrios goes in, hits the Ogo, sets up for it, loses on the first time, and resets, and finds himself on the moon.
Oh,
and
wow.
has to redo Massa Altar before coming back down.
Wow. Holy
So
crud,
you
he
had
outraced me.
more time to work with than you thought you did
Yeah,
because of
but
that.
honestly, though, I did, but I needed to get through Ogo on that first try, and it just didn't. It felt like it was so good, and I kept thinking, man, I need to get a blink on her, but it's like, nope, everybody
Right.
just got hit. She's down. Got to get cure 3. Got to get cure 3. Got to get cure 3. And there just wasn't a whole lot to do at that point, but just kind of tough it out. I'm assuming Kyrios managed to skip the giant like I did then.
Yes, you both skipped the giant. You both decided that the giant was too much of a risky unknown to warrant fading a Feymarch boss off of.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because I actually caught a seed like that where the harp had magma behind it and was on the hook route, and actually that other seed was also harp into Pinktail, like this one ended up being, though the package wasn't there before. And as soon as I was thinking about just blazing down the hook route and going nuts, depending on what I found there, but as soon as I saw that Kanot, so I'm like, nope, it'll be faster to go to harp. And then of course that objective hit. So I'm sitting there crossing my fingers. I was hoping that Kyrios would fade ordeals because that's one of his plays. And since Tella didn't show till the hook route, he had no character reason to go there. And I was hoping that he would just last location it and waste time. But seeing as last location, getting everything else done, didn't think I had that much. So then it was kind of a hope that he'd miss the package, waste a bunch on the time on the giant, and that's how I'd get him. But he's a great runner. I mentioned that silly seed. I actually sent it to him because he's a friend, and I let him play with it and watch him destroy me on it. And I knew it was going to be a hard one. I'm proud of how I played. I wish I could have finished a little bit better, but sad to be out of the tournament. But so it goes sometimes. You don't win all of them, and I mean, Kyrios is going to be the best. We love those guys, Tybalt, Kyrios, and Cubs over there. So while I'll root for Brick to beat Cubs tomorrow, we like those guys. We hope they go far in the tournament, and it's a lot of fun to get to play.
You ran the seed extremely well in your own. The two of you took very different paths on the overworld, but you did kind of converge at Cave Evelyn, and you were neck and neck as far as the foot race with
I was also kind of hoping he hadn't
well.
grabbed that Dragoon Spear because I know his preferred looting path is to go up to Kaipo and then into Mist. I figured he had grabbed the Avenger out of either Flame Dog or buying it in Troya, but I was hoping that Dragoon Spear would be an edge. My heart kind of skipped a beat when I saw the Sparkle down there because I feel really good about my odds if that's D Lunars or if it's Pale Dim down there, or even Wyvern.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't, especially with that ribbon in hand. That Wyvern was suddenly not too scary for me. But this isn't the first time an FBFC got me with. It could be any Sparkle but Ogo and I'll be fine. In fact, actually, that other seed I alluded to, there was a hook route with a Sparkle on it. I had Dragoon Cane. I could have gone back out to Harp and check it, get my Magma Key and go underground. Nah, I can go do this. And anybody but Ogo, it's fine. And it was Ogo. So it's how it goes. So we'll see what happens next time, and getting ready for club season and go on from there.
So I asked Kyrios the same question, not about the end of the seed, but earlier on. It's about that hook route. So you're about to head down the hook route. You've exhausted the overworld, so one of your trap chests either is magma or is going to lead to it. You get Twin Heart from Staleman. You come up and you see that the boss is Kainazo. You go to Mad Ogres and you see that it's the Pinktail. And so somewhere along that way, you decided, I'm going to bail for the magma. Was there any point in that time where you were thinking, hey, I'll take the hook route? And
No.
if so, at no point, the moment you walked into Cave Eblin, before you touched either trap chest, you were committed to bailing for the magma key no matter what?
No, the moment I saw Kainatsu was down there, I was committed to bailing.
Gotcha. Kainazo was the trigger for you.
Yeah, and in fact, when I saw, I had kind of this 50-50 thing when I got the harp about whether I just go out and check it. You saw me save scum there. And I thought, you know what, let's go see who the character, let's see how bad the hook route is. And when I'd walk that far down, it's like, you know what, Edge is here, I can steal 2 Bacchus, that may be a big deal, let's go get it.
Yeah, makes sense. And that was pretty much the same deal for Kyrios. Kyrios saw the Kainazo, assessed his ability to deal with it with an not being able to anchor and not having enough thunder items, and that's what made Kyrios say, you know what?
I mean, I had
We're done here.
I had three thunder items in Palom. I could have messed with it and probably got through it after an attempt or two. But even if everything went perfect and I got through on that first attempt, it would have been slower than going and doing it in Harp. That's the problem. And you don't know who that spot one was. That ugly seed I talked about earlier had Golbez sitting in spot one. Maybe there's a gauntlet sitting down there that's going to waste 3 minutes of time for you. Versus you can go out, do a check you know you're capable of doing, get the Magna Key, and get going.
It all makes sense. No doubt.
So, all right, gentlemen. Well, I think I'm going to step away, but I appreciate you guys calling the race. Big shout out to everybody who is on the Restream team. For those of you who are watching, if you don't follow them, we have an absolutely great group of people who like to do all these things for us. And I highly encourage you to go check out Commander Leonhout and Roddy Sniper. They're fun people. They're great on comms here. They're even greater to listen to when they talk on their own stream. Big thanks to Stony, who tracked it, and our friend Senior Glue, who both dragged me into Moogle Cup and also produced the race today.
Thank you for running it and for agreeing to volunteer, and for it. We can't do it without you. And for it's nice to hear about friends in the community. We're having fun with each other and doing stuff together, free enterprise or whatnot. It's a great community. Like tallgrant said, check out the Discord if this interests you. There are plenty of people that'll be happy to teach you the ins and outs of the game and help you get up to speed.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us for the interview, tallgrant, and good luck with the club season as that starts to come back around.
And that was tallgrant. Definitely give both of the runners a follow and go check in on them. They're also fun to watch, tear things apart in free enterprise and otherwise. That is going to do it for our tournament races for today. We are, however, going to send you over for more free enterprise action. Rexol is playing free enterprise. Rexol runs a club called Teleschool, which is geared at teaching new people ins and outs of the game. So if you'd like to learn something at a little more basic level, go there. It is week 4 spoilers, so if you're going to run that yourself, you don't want to follow along.
So I think that does it for us and Commander Leonhardt for Stony on tracking and Drinks Glue for restreaming. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a nice day.